Hey guys, it's Edwin here, and today we're going to talk about how do you know that your partner is not going to change and that there's no need to wait for that relationship to go back to the way it was. In one way or the other, we always hope that our partners will go back to the way they were or will change their behaviors to be the kind of partner we want. In fact, the main reason why people stay too long in a toxic relationship is clinging on the hope that their partners will change their abusive ways or their ill behavior. It's not one of the hardest things to do for someone is to be honest with themselves and know that change may not happen in that relationship and it might be time to leave and start over. This is because someone thinks of the loneliness, feeling of investment they've had in that relationship, as well as other factors that may convince someone to wait for their partner to change. This waiting period where someone waits for their partner to change is also filled with rationalization of any abusive behavior, as the desire to have your partner to change far much outweighs the emotional pain you are going through. And this is the period where someone will persevere in all those emotionally abusive ways, in all those verbal abuse, even in all those physically abusive ways, because they just want that relationship to work. The thought of that relationship coming to an end is always one of the last things someone will think about, because they rather choose to stay in that unhappy relationship. Yes, truth will set you free, but it will painfully set you free. That's why at times you need to understand that your partner is not going to change, so that you can leave that relationship and forge a better life for yourself. And in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the signs that you can use to discern if your partner is never going to change. One way to determine that your partner is not going to change or may never change is if your partner minimizes any abuse or denies how serious it was. Yes, a relationship will have scuffles, arguments, and all those kinds of ups and downs. But in all instances, sober and mature people will resolve them in a healthy manner, then proceed with their relationship. If you are in an instance where your partner constantly abuses you emotionally or verbally, and then when you complain about it, they minimize how serious the matter was, then your partner is not going to change. They might gaslight you and water down what they've done with words like, "You are such a crybaby," "You are always whining over small things." You might be really feeling pain for what they did to you, but for them, their perception is not a big deal to them. So they will not change because the perception of what they are doing to you is not a big deal to them, but it's a big deal to you. So even if you try to force them to change, they will not change because they don't see any big deal with what they are doing. Another sign that your partner is not going to change is if you have to constantly push them to change or to seek help. Yes, as the loving partner you are, you may find yourself constantly talking to your husband or wife to seek help, to seek therapy, to talk to the pastor, to talk to someone else so that they can change their behaviors. It's like you are always the one instigating them to change because you really want to have that partner you want, or you really want to have that partner with the desirable qualities you want. That's where we go to this African proverb. You can take a donkey to the river, but you can't force it to drink water. No amount of forcing will make someone change their behavior. Even if you take someone to a therapist or to a pastor, as long as that person is not willing to change, they will not change. Unless they have this willingness to change, and then you now facilitate the change. Your partner is not going to change if you are the one who will want to drill out that change out of them. You may find yourself constantly reminding them to go to therapy to the point that you give them ultimatums. Like you might give them ultimatums of like, if you don't change next week or if you don't go to therapy next week, I'm going to leave the relationship. And of course, because of the good person you are and the loving person you are, and you still want to keep this relationship, that 1 week will pass, and then of course you will add them for another week, and then you will find that those weeks are adding up to years. That's the point where you need to realize that the fact that you give someone ultimatums as a catalyst for change really means that you are really forcing that person to be in that relationship, and it's not their desire to be in that relationship. Maybe they want something else. The fact that you have to push someone already means there is something in there. Your partner may also never change if they are never accountable for their behavior and they always blame everyone else for what's happening in their lives. These are instances where your partner does some undesirable behavior like cheating on you, and then when you confront them, they throw you something like, I did it because of you, I did it because of ABCD, I was seduced. You see, like just trying to put that blame on other people and not themselves. Your partner will deflect all their ill behaviors back at you without even taking any whiff of accountability. This plainly shows that your partner does not want to be accountable for their actions because they are afraid of the consequences. Your partner may shift the blame to you or just to anyone else. Without accountability, it means that someone is not owning up to what they are doing, and without the ownership of what you're doing, change is never possible because someone will not be able to see the truth of the matter because they are running away from truth. You will find yourself asking them questions on what they did, but they will always deflect them with they made me do it or you made me do it. Another way to determine if your partner may never change is if they constantly apologize with no action. Your partner may have constantly done something which bothers you or you are uncomfortable with, but when you raise it to them, they of course throw the normal, I'm sorry, I'll never do it again, but then you leave it for a week later, they are doing the same thing. This really means that this person does not even disrespect you at all, and they already know that I can do this thing and then apologize and nothing will be done. I'll still be in the relationship. So you'll be caught in this constant cycle of apology, no action. So your partner may never change if their word of the day is I'm sorry, but they don't take action. Your sense of leniency might also feel like an entertainment to them to keep doing what they are doing because they know that you are so compassionate and lenient and so forgiving. So let me just do it and then apologize. No amount of apologies and sorries is equivalent to change behavior. The last sign to determine if your partner may never change is if they constantly lie or are manipulative. If your partner constantly lies when you confront them on any issue, then it means that they are really comfortable with what they are doing. They may even be manipulating you and telling you that you are seeing your own things even when you have evidence of what's happening. If they also constantly manipulate you to have their needs met, then it means their partner is probably comfortable with where they are because they are getting their needs met. As long as someone is confidently denying the reality of the situation, then it really means deep down they don't see anything wrong with what they are doing, and no amount of change or no amount of pushing them to change will make them change because they are comfortable with that manipulative behavior they are displaying because it serves their needs. There are many aspects to determine if your partner is not going to change, but the main thing is change behavior is not equals to words and promises. Look at their changed behavior. Don't focus so much on the words they display, on the apologies they send you. I understand that you've really invested in that man or that woman, and you don't want to leave that relationship. You might even wish that you had not seen those messages because the fact that you've now seen them is now shaking the foundation you've built for many years. But here's the thing: as long as there's truth, as long as there's no truth, any foundation will be shook, even if you deny it. Even if you deny seeing those messages, it means that that truth is always there. That truth of your partner cheating on you is always there. And even if you act like you've not seen it, you may be unhappy in that relationship, but you really can't see beyond it. And you might choose to suffer for the sake of keeping things together and for the sake of showing other people that you are in this happy home. But here's the thing, the one who's experiencing that emotional suffering is you. It's not the people out there, it's just you. So if your partner is not going to change, the earlier you leave the better, because the more you stay, the more the trauma will move from trauma to complex side of trauma. That's why the earlier you leave that relationship, the better for you. It might be hard, but the earlier the better. As long as someone is not going to change, it will mean that things will get worse for you. It won't get better for you, it will get worse. Thank you, and that's it from me today. Feel free to share and comment, and have a lovely evening.